Scholar's Lessons tool allows you to create lessons or modules or tutorials for your students. You can walk your students or participants through a very specific set of instructions or steps of things that they need to do or complete. We're going to first start talking about the layout of the Lessons tool, then go through and create a Lessons tool together and create one lesson together. So first I want to show you one lesson that has already been created. You can see that the way that this one is set up is this one is set up by chapters. So we have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, etc. And for each one of these, students have instructions. We have instructions included at the top. They need to read the included text for the chapter, then complete a forum post, an assignment, and a quiz. So you can see already that we have different options here with the Lessons tool. We're able to link to forums, assignments, tests and quizzes, and resource items, all things that were not available with the Modules tool before. There are some new things that you will be seeing as well. We have the option to add student pages. We can do a peer review function that we've never had in Scholar before, as well as comments. So let's take a look at a few different items here. You can see that we have included the option for students to do a chapter 1 here. They're going to be doing a forum post, then they're going to be doing an assignment, then they're going to be doing a quiz. So it's a very specific set of steps that we have our students going through in this option. If I were to click on the first item here, which is a subpage, it will take me to another page. If I click there, we'll see that we have the option with this Lessons tool to add pictures, to add text, to add links. We can also add videos as well. So we can see there are lots of different options here on what can be added. So let's take a look and actually create a page for ourselves so we can see how we add the different options. I'm going to go into a site that I already have, that I already own, and I'm going to show you how to add the Lessons tool. If you go into your site info of your tool, then you're going to go into Edit Tools, click on Lessons and Continue. It gives you the option to change the name if you wanted to. You could call this Modules, Tutorials, Lessons, anything that you wanted you could do. You can also add more than one, so if you wanted several Lessons tools, you would have the ability to do so here. I'll hit Continue and Finish. And now we see the Lessons tool down here. I'm going to click on Lessons, and you'll notice that it shows you some instructions per se about the lessons themselves. Once you add your first item, you're going to notice that this page goes away and you no longer see it. But all you need to do is click on the Help option here, and it pops open all that material in a new page for you. Now you always want to think of your first page as your table of contents, so you want to think about how you want to start adding things, and it's going to be very important in what order you put things in. I'm going to show you how to add each one of the items that we talked about very quickly. The first thing you can do is add text. You'll notice that this text box is very similar to the text boxes you've seen in other sections of Scholar. You can just very easily add information. You can say this is lesson number 1. Instructions to follow. You can also add in pictures by using the picture image here. You can add in links. You can add in videos. You can also change the color of the font, change the style, change the format and heading, etc. All the things that you can normally do with this item. And there is our first text. Multimedia is going to be the ability to add in something in the actual display. So if you want your students to see a certain picture or a certain video, you want to use the multimedia tool. For example, you can link to a YouTube video, you can link to a URL of something out there on the web, or you can actually upload a file. Say, for example, I want to link just to a picture that I have. I can hit Save, and it is now linking to a picture that I have. Now at this point you can decide whether you want this to display inline, such as display here, or if you want to have it be a link. If you just want it to be a link, you want to use the Resource tool. So you would click on Resource. Again, you have the option for the URL here, Or you can choose the file. Again, I can just double click on it and save. And I have a link to it. So this automatically uploads into my resources folder, and my students can click on it and get it just the same as they could before. So if you want it to display inline, you want to use multimedia. If you want it to display as a link, such as a course document or reading something, a PDF that they need to read, you probably want to include a link instead. You're going to notice next to each one of these, you're going to have an edit function. The edit for text allows you to go back in and edit your text or add anything else that you want. The edit for these two allows you to change the name of it if you want, or you can add an item description for it. And then if I hit save, you'll notice that the item description goes below it, and you can add item descriptions. This way a student would know before they clicked on it what it is that they're actually clicking on. I can also add assignments here and quizzes, as well as if I go into more tools, I can add forum topics. So I'm going to very quickly add those. Now the thing is with these that you probably want to create the assignments, the quizzes, and the forum post before you come into the lesson tool so that you have them available. I'll click on add assignment. I already have an assignment here, the essay, so I'll choose that. And now I have a link to the essay. Same thing with my test and quizzes. I already have a test, so I can choose the correct test here, and my test is added. And I can go in and add my forum topic, my general discussion, so I've added that as well. So you can see we're basically just going through and talking about the different options that we have across the top. Now say for example I don't have these in the order that I want them to be in. I do have a reorder tool. So I can go over here and click reorder, and this allows me to drag and drop these items into the order that I want them to be in. Say for example this forum post, I want to be one of the first things they do after they see those pictures. I can just drag and drop it and hit save, and we'll notice that forum post is now here. So that is the way that you order the information here. So it's very easy to go in and add information into this. And what we want to take a look at now is what our students are going to be doing. We can actually add something called a student page, which allows our students to go in and create a lesson for themselves. So they could go in and actually do a lesson. They can add in videos that they've made. They can go in and write something and share that information with the rest of the class. With that, you go into more tools and then click on add student content. And students will see this option here for student pages and have the option to go in and add their own page. Now with that, you can make those pages anonymous so that the other students can see their work but not know who they are. So if you go into the edit option here, I can make these pages anonymous so that other students can see them but not know who each person is. I can also grade these items. So I could say, hey, these are going to be worth 100 points for each one of these pages that you create. Now a peer review function is something that Scholar has never really had before. And with this, with the student pages, we now have the option for a peer review. So I can add a comment section where my students can go in and make comments about the other students' pages. And I could give some sort of idea of what they need to be commenting on, what I'm expecting. But I can also make these comments anonymous. What's great about making the comments anonymous is that students can go in and comment on each other's pages anonymously, but I, as the instructor, am able to see who each person is on that. And then with that peer review, I have the option to go ahead and grade those as well. So I can say, hey, I'm going to grade those for 10 points apiece. So once I hit update, you'll see that there is a grading pane. And I'm going to show you an example of this while I have it, because I already have an example over here. Now with this, I can see that I have student pages here. You're going to notice that these student pages show up as anonymous here with different numbers, but I, as the instructor, can see the name of the person who actually created the pages because I made these anonymous. I've also added a comment section to each one and made those anonymous as well. So let's take a look at Tracy's here. This is Tracy's page. She's gone in, she's added text, she's made different colors, she's added in images, and she's added a sub page and links. And then we can see that there are comments here. Each comment is showing up as anonymous, but I, again, as the instructor, have the ability to go in and take a look and see exactly who made each comment. And I can go ahead and grade any of these comments as well. All right, so with the peer review function, your students now have the ability to go in and comment on each other's work, and it can remain anonymous as well. All right. So we've added a very basic page here with some basic information. We've added multimedia resources, assignments, quizzes. We went ahead and added the forum topics and student contents. We also have the ability to add subpages, and this is when you want to start creating more and more pages to get deeper. You always want to think of your first page as basically your table of contents and then link from there. So you can add subpages. So I could call this lesson number 2 if I wanted. And you'll notice it automatically goes to that page, but you can go ahead and hit the back button to get to it. Or you'll notice there's a breadcrumb trail where I can click on lessons and it'll take me back to my first page. But I do have the option here for that lesson, and I can do as many subpages as I want to here. All right, so now you have the very basics on how to create a lesson, how to create the lesson and subpages, how to add in multimedia, resources, assignments, quizzes, and forums. The last thing we want to talk about is the control option. What the control option allows you to do is decide at what time and in what order you want your students or participants to see the information included here. This option is going to be allowed on anything that you have the ability to grade. So forum posts, tests and quizzes, assignments, and these subpages, as well as these grading options for student pages, all of these are going to have control options. And what I mean by control options is if you click on the edit next to any of these, you're going to notice that you have 2 new options here that say don't release item until all prerequisites are completed, and also require that a student submit or do this option. So basically what this is doing is saying that the student cannot complete this item until any items up into this item are done. So I can choose that, and then I can also say that until they do this item they can't go any farther. So I'll hit update here. And you'll notice it puts a star here, letting me know that the student cannot go any farther until they've completed this item. So if I want my students to go into a set here of they can only do one item at a time and they can't go any farther until they get that item done, I can actually make this so that they do this in the specific order that I want them to do it in. I can go into each of these items and say don't release this item until they've done everything else. I can also say require that they do this item, which makes this item a prerequisite. I can also require with test and quizzes and with assignments that they receive a certain amount of points on that item before they can go any farther with it. You'll see that it adds a star for each one of these. Again, I have the option to not release it, to require it, and that they get a certain amount of points here. So you can see that I'm making my students go into a certain set or certain specific set of steps that I want them to do. They can't go into the essay until they've already done the forum post. They can't get to the test until they've done that essay. And with that essay, they can't go any farther until they receive a certain grade on it. So I'm making my students go in a very specific set of steps. But again, that's going to be entirely up to you as to whether or not you want to do that. You'll notice that you have several options with these edits over here on the right, on the left. All right, with the More Tools option, you also have the option to set up different settings, meaning each page can be blocked down to certain times that you want them to see it. You can remove entire pages, Or you can add more pages, and by more pages, it would mean actual more lessons items on the left-hand side. If you have any questions about this tool, you can always click on the help here, which will get you back to that help. You can always click on the help option here, which opens up our Scholar help, and it will take you to that. You want to click on lessons, and all of our lessons or information is there. If you have any certain questions, please don't hesitate to contact us by clicking on request for help and clicking and filling out that information. You can also set up a one-on-one with any of the Scholar instructors, or you can come to any of the other sessions, and you can do that through NLI by clicking on the NLI. And that page is nli.telos.vt.edu. You can click on all current offerings, and okay, and scroll down until you get to Scholar. You'll see there is a one-on-one consulting option. And we also have a facilitated lab session where you can come in and sit down and speak with one of the instructors. So please let us know if you need any help. We'd be happy to sit down and work with you.